The NBA is perhaps entering the most volatile phase of fashion competition today. After 19 years of cosmic heroism, the United Nations has no longer had a champion army. The final of the World Cup is the second consecutive year that the tournament has been held in the United States. I have to admit, this is one of them. The Thunder are already the best team to keep up the competition. I'm not even sure. First of all, they are not like the Houthis of the 21st century. Radical change of leadership. The first is the Band of the Remains. The 2 seasons were regular tournament entries. Secondly, they are not like the Warriors of 23 years. The first step is to reduce the number of people who are suffering from the disease. The police are not in a position to protect the public. The wealth of assets in the hands is also very rich. In addition, they are not as old as 25 years ago. The Chinese army is facing an aging population. The game is a game of chance, and the game is a game of chance. The report also highlights the importance of the new rules for the use of the internet. They have not lost their minds for most of the time. The team is almost the same as the team that has always been watching radio hits. The first time I saw the video was in the video. The first is that the government is not going to be able to do anything. The first is that the government is not going to be able to keep the people who work there. The next year, the salary will be paid. The cost of the project is estimated at $500 million, plus the cost of the infrastructure tax on the Jillian facility. The first time the country has been in a minority of less than 5 million people. The team has not paid any infrastructure taxes in the last 6 seasons. The financial pressures are so huge that they are obviously unfavorable. The situation in the war zone is therefore inevitable again. The first is that the earthquake caused a lot of damage to the earth. The key players inside who should go, who should flow. The question is whether we should adjust our own arguments. Presti will obviously do a lot of work this summer. The current situation in the country is similar to that of the United States. The team has signed 15 contracts, some of which could be extended to the next season. The 3 experienced executives, including Hatton and Kenneth Dalton, were among the first to be arrested in the country. The game is free to play. The first time the team was able to win the World Cup, they were able to win the World Cup, and the second time they were able to win the World Cup. The newly elected officials signed contracts. The first is that the newly created employees are not likely to be with the original staff this year, the next season. The first is that the list of the militants is full of people who are sick. The video shows that the video is about to be released. The problem with new words is too serious. The first is the summer season. Galen and Jet signed 2 hearts last year. The new law will be in effect simultaneously. The newly elected president, Jan Jensen, has announced that he will be stepping down from his salary of $6.58 million this season. The number of people who have been killed in the conflict is now 4.136 million. The number of people who have been killed in the war has risen from 13.73 million to 41.36 million. The report also highlights the importance of the new rules for the healthcare sector. The total number of new words is less than 13. The number of people who are in the country is about 120 million. The situation is now. You can't say thunderstorms are bad at running. The first time I saw a new one, I was surprised to learn that it was a new one. The reality is that it is inevitable. The only exception is that the annual salary of Tolt, Hutting and Carlo. The number of people who have been killed is about 20 million. The 3 of them together. The project will be completed by the end of the year and will be completed by the end of the year. New words and taxes. The first is expected to be close to 500 million. The team's owners. The United Nations is a global leader in the fight against terrorism. The first is the bird of the moon. The type of small business. So the only way that Plestier can do this is through a deal. Clean the gearbox. The first time I saw the video was in the video. Taxation is required. The world is divided into 2 main types of voices. The report was published in the journal The Guardian. The lightning doesn't need to be a front. Look at them. The next year is still hot. This is not a good idea. The final of the drama was a huge success. Not everyone is healthy. The results are only in a reverse state. A contest was created. The tomatoes are also made of strawberries. Missed the second half of the knockout stage. 2 of the biggest holders missing this season. The lightning strike opens. The only thing that can be done is to give the Alaris to bear the burden. Even so, it is not a problem. The team is still with Maz. The last moment of strength has come. The power is not weak. But the problem is, the world is changing. The younger Maz. The first is the first in a series of 3 films about the life of a young woman. How to solve the problem of Myanmar's migration. The biggest contender is undoubtedly that. Clearly, Chattanooga is not the answer to Thunder. The star has been stable all year long. The best candidates are chosen. But the final of the play is Commander's Data. The first is the Saturday Night Live. The first version of the app is available in English. And not just the game. Chet often doesn't dare to play. The first is The War. He only started 2 games in the single. Only 250,000 copies were made available. In the contest, many times in front of the Myanmar Cooperative. The game is over. The situation of self-defense. The final of the 6-yard race last year was also the first to be held in the country. Even though Chet is in the lead, Zhang is in the lead. His Commander's Data. It was only 12.3 points. 8.9 edition. The number of people who are dying is only 19.5%. It's easy to see. The government is not prepared to take any action. The mood is unbalanced. This is a very real problem for Chet. This also puts the Thunder on the front of the crown. He is not to be judged. The current version. The news has been spread out across the country. The first is the firewall and the firewall. For example, thunderstorms. He was sent to Ashish. The third, money. How to choose a new show. The fifth, color. He is also a key figure in the development of the country's economy. I'm going to make a Hazongo. The first is the food and agriculture. The deal is a financial transaction. The rainbow is not without its sadness. More depends on your wishes. The first is the conservation of the world. The government has also been trying to get the government to take action. The first is the battle of the sexes. It's clear. The first is that the government is not responsible for the deaths. The possibility of Chet being traded eventually. The number of people who are in the country is, after all, the style and logic of the Thunder races. The battle is taking place around the Chet and Ari Mountains. Chet is the core of the defense unit. The police are responsible for large-scale security and looting. The first is the sexy. He has been in the NFL for the past 2 or 3 seasons. The text is probably only a few pages long. If you really want to change your mind, farmers and vegetarians. The first is that the earthquake is not a natural disaster. These are the stars. How can we be like Chet? The people who are willing to live and die. It's a culture. At least one plateau. The first is the idea of a document. You may not take the risk. In contrast, the probability of missing conclusions. Maybe the pitch is higher. The problem is that the name is dangerous. It's a bit complicated. It's not that we don't have the capacity. The first is that the disease is not a normal disease. The contest is free. The result was only 33 matches. The first was due to the absence of surgery on the right wrist. The last time I was in the hospital, I had 2 right leg muscles. If you count the muscle and the gloves, the film is about a young boy who is a teenager. The results of the survey were 4 times. The problem is that the body is not healthy. The history of the world tells us, players with a history of leg injuries, the risk of leg injury again is often higher. The first is that the earthquake was caused by a tsunami. The price of the transaction is expected to be higher in the end. I'm not sure what I'm saying. After all, Michelle and McCain's rise to power. The results are already in place. The world is not changing. The first is that the company is not a real estate company. The thunderstorm is sending conclusions to the net. The newly elected president of the United States, Mr. Trump, has been sentenced to life in prison. I'm not sure what I'm doing. The 2 sides are going. Lightning clears space and expands future funding. The internet has received the stars of their new ideas. The results of the survey showed that the level of factory was verified. If you stay healthy, the next Haddon is not excluded. Of course, they are. The lightning is not the only way to trade stars. The game is a free-to-play game. The same technology is being cut in wages. According to ESPN reporter McMahon, the video was shot on the internet. He was told that there is a high probability that Haddon will return. The team will execute his choice. The 2 sides have agreed to a new contract. This is a good idea. Haddon was the only meat lamp in the Thunder Wars. The game is a guarantee of quality and cover-up. The first is the horse race. He also quoted the strategic value of the demonstration. The name of the country is Dalton. The video was posted by McMahon. The message was left unknown. I've been here for a long time. The ball in the South Korean prison, keeping the disease out of the box. This year's sign is on the page. The comments of the president also showed a marked slip. The game was only 5.5 points, 2.7 board. The number of hits per third was only 30.8%. The role on the ground. The first is the body. The players are the same as the opponents. The influence of the overcomers is very limited. The storm was not a critical moment. The first is that the government is not going to take any action. The younger Carson is back on the field. This summer, Carson is eligible to complete his early consent. He is definitely Dalton, the most direct replacement. In this case, Lightning is likely to execute the team's selection of Dalton first. He was arrested and sent to a local hospital for treatment. The current message is, the first time the country was in a state of emergency, the country was in a state of emergency. The most likely decline. They have been around for a long time. The problem of the outsiders is that they are not able to control the situation. Dalton as a standard 3D player. The first is the sweetness of the world. I want to get a card. The first is that the government is not going to miss this week opportunity. The only thing that is not a problem is that the government is not a threat. The race was almost cancelled, and the Thunderbolts were replaced with Silk. The bridge is also likely to be a good fit. The contract is for them. The first was in the summer of 24. The number of young people in the world is 20 million. I'm going to go. The Thunder can trade 2 people. The game is free to play. They are coming. The Thunderbolts can also make 2 people equal. The game is a mix of sports and sports. The game is a mix of hardcore and hardcore. For example, in recent years, the first is that the people of the country are not allowed to visit the country. The first is the foreign fly. I'm not sure. The first is the city of peace and the second is the city of peace. Many of them. But every choice is. The first is that the whole world is going to be in a state of shock. How to do this to the best of your ability. The rescue is effective. I'm not sure what this is. The best CEO of the past 25 years has been broken. The last part of the video, we will talk about the Alyssa again. The media interviewed yesterday. The report was published in the journal The Guardian. The building materials are running well. The water in the Alps. I'm not empty. I'm not a fan of the movie. What press should do? The question is, how can you make progress? He said, I don't know. I don't have much time right now. I'm going to think about this. I was walking alone. You can feel the hands of the stars rising. The first is the newest version of the app. The film is about a young boy who is trying to get a job. The Alexamos, the 25th to 26th season is not a failure. The debate about him. The report also highlights the importance of the EU's efforts to reduce poverty. This is especially true during the symbols race. The picture of his jump in front of the center. The number of people who came. The media has even been involved. The number of people who are in the country is about 10%. The number of falls is 23.5. But before that, the first half of the machine. The Alps. I can't get to. The first is the buddy movement. The first is that the country is still a single country. Changing the competition. This is a proof. The contest is open to all. The first is that the food is not enough. The first is that the people of the country are not allowed to see the world. So, apart from Thunder, changes in the lineup. The Alps. How to get started. How can we change things? The video was posted on Facebook. The problem is that the building is not a good place to live. So how do you see the prospects for thunderstorms?